Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Zelda Speedruns 3. We are doing Z2R's, the Zelda 2 Randomizer Swiss Round 4 match between traiLZ and RoseCitySaint. My name is Z Wind, and joining me in the commentary booth today is Chromaticalism.
Hi, everybody. Two of the best runners of the Zelda 2 Randomizer that are out there, and this match, because they are both 3-0, is going to be mainly to determine their seeding, and something of a victory lap for both of them, but should see some very stiff competition today.
Lots of sand tiles as our starting area today. And the back of Saria.
Potential pass-through option right there.
And it looked like Palace won as well.
Yep, in a nice lime green. This looks like it could be, that's the Fairy Cave exit. And RCS picking up the extra life. So assuming he doesn't want to warp back to start, he's in good position to go into any early dives if he needs to.
I think the part of this race I'm most excited to see is actually the combat we can see from these two runners. And there's Mito for traiLZ.
Yeah, both excellent skills. traiLZ is particularly good at executing those double hits. We got a hammer for RoseCitySaint.
And Ruto's buried in a swamp today.
Not a good place to build a town. I wouldn't do it personally, but to each their own. Just a jar on that grave tile there. Early in the game, those are kind of nice if they've got pea bags, but not much you can do with a jar. And RSC finding Ruto as well.
We have another town up here. Oh, that one's Mito. I missed where that was in specific. So glad if we get to find it.
We'll have to come back to if we want spells.
No super easy free spells thus far. We've just found the back end of Saria and the two that have fetch quests first.
And we've got a couple of pass-through caves. We might want to be taking one of those pretty soon. It looks like we're in a fairly small chunk of a northern part of the west here. There's another palace, and it's 4.
Though finding that hammer here, it helps there.
So RoseCitySaint straight on through to the south portion, just a couple minutes in. Hopefully we'll see our first spells soon and see what other quest items come up in the locations here.
How about our third palace?
Well, that's going to be one of the 3 or 6 palaces. Won't know until we dive into it. Oh,
a free spectacle rock. With a glove.
For a glove, that's fantastic. Love seeing that early. And RSC electing to check a couple of these caves. See if there's any hint of an item. I doubt he'll be doing too much of a deep dive because we haven't seen too many of the regular overworld caves. And yeah, he's heading back out.
I mean, I probably will have checked those first couple of caves as well, on the off chance we found Hammer Cave.
Yeah, it's a decent idea to get that out of the way if you're there rather than backtracking later, but you don't want to invest too much in it. And now in Trophy Cave, probably going to be a little more lucrative for him. Looks like traiLZ is headed south now as well. And we got the trophies, so access to some spells is available.
You know, the last thing I expected to find in Trophy Cave today was Trophy.
It happens sometimes. I suppose you could consider it disappointing, but I don't think RSC feels that way. It's a good find.
I love that is this even randomized question when the world looks like this?
Yeah, the core elements appear to not be that random, just the exploration. Then again, we did get Hammer like first thing.
Oh, that's part of what makes it even funnier. There. The joke is even funnier when the world looks like this.
So traiLZ picked up his glove as well, dipping into Death Mountain, and now we have the raft. So with palaces unexplorable so far, we'll probably pull a couple of spells out of here and then maybe head east, depending on if we run into maybe a magic key or fairy.
Everybody knows nothing today.
I mean, they're just being honest with themselves, and I appreciate that.
Honesty is the best policy here.
Don't tell me that they know that nothing, then try to give me bad directions or something. Uh-oh.
That's fairy, isn't it?
Fairy. That's fairy, so time to invest into some magic levels maybe, and get some early exploration possibly, depending on what the seed gives them.
I would say that is a very good idea.
I approve. RSC got one of the 4 hints there. Horsehead has a P bag. It's a 500-point P bag, but I somehow doubt he's going to go for that.
Well, on the bright side, that will save him time when he goes to Palace 1.
So potentially a pretty quick seed here with the glove in hand and a way to get through key doors in hand. We just need some of those essential spells, and then we can really book it.
Spell is not one of the essential spells.
Unfortunately, it's not. The name would lead you to believe that it must be pretty significant to have that broad and universal of a name. Not so useful.
We've got keys dropping today.
That's a good sign, having found the fairy spell early, because that'll save you some magic, at least in the early going when you really need it and aren't able to cast fairy multiple times.
I'm not sure I'd worry too much about that, given that 59 magic cost we saw from RCS's screen was at Magic 1.
As a Magic 1, yeah. So a few more levels and that'll be nice, especially as they're picking up some of these magic jars, boosting their maximums. There's the other side of, or one side of Jump Cave, and the Magic Container Cave.
Just as a one-up on that one.
Well, one less thing on the list to check. Didn't notice. Did Trails pick up the fairy spell yet?
I didn't notice. I was watching what was going on RCS's screen for a minute, but I don't think he went into any town yet. Down here.
Hasn't been the meter yet. Yeah. Wow. So taking magic level 4, Trails is definitely ready to start exploring dungeons once he gets the fairy spell if he hasn't yet. And RCS following suit, leveling up magic.
Trails getting his spell. That is an awful cave to try and get to on RCS's screen.
Yeah, a lot of swamp and not much you can do to dodge the encounters when you're dealing with all that swamp. But maybe paying off, as this is another one of the item caves.
Well, it doesn't matter as much for runners of these caliber. I would not be complaining about that heart container.
No, and I'm sure RCS is happy to pick that up as well. Having received it, he up and A's. I think we're gonna see him try to head east. Oh, he's gonna pick up Downstab and then likely either head east or start exploring some of these palaces.
He might go to Rudo as well.
Oh, that's true. We did pick up the trophy, so...
The flute is in the east.
Hopefully it's not hiding behind the River Devil somewhere.
We will probably also get to read our hint for where the medicine is hiding.
Oh, that's true. One of the better things to know, and if you're going to be here anyway, that's a nice time to pick it up.
I mean, you have to make a screen transition to get out of here anyways. Rebenak rides with what?
With the medicine, because that's...
Oh, the medicine, that's who we were talking to. So, possibly here on the west.
That's true. I wonder if... so it looks like we are going to Ruto. I wonder if we will see a palace dive on the west before heading east.
Given that 1 is the first palace they found, and RCS knows nothing is in 1, it's definitely possible.
If we find Reflect, I can almost guarantee that RCS is going to take out all 3 of these palaces on the west coast before heading east, because he's got everything he needs at that point to complete them.
Both runners visiting different caves, and there's Shield.
And Shield is not Reflect, even though it does work with the Shield. So, judgment call to be made. Let's see what happens.
So this has been a very lucrative west side exploration. Let's go east. That's not an inviting east with all those graves.
It depends, though, because you have the randomized encounters. So sometimes those aren't necessarily going to take you to a grave. Like this forest just took us to some grassland here. And then, of course, whatever enemies you see in these locations will determine how happy you are to be running into things there.
There's GP.
So pretty easy to get to from the start if upon completing their palaces they need to just reset, do the up and A, and head over. That's kind of convenient.
Darunia is right there too. That's not a friendly spot for a River Devil.
It's not. Depending on if flute is required and how soon it appears, we may go through there. Or use pass-through caves.
This is a very unfortunate time not to have the magic to use fairy.
I mean, but they're probably going to come back together later on. Up to this point, really pretty even and pretty similar decision-making.
I wonder if Trails didn't get... Did Trails get the hint about Horsehead?
I'm not sure. But it looked like he headed right, and it was one of the key rooms, so I think left was the only other option at that point.
So, we'll have to see if he goes digging for an item that we know is a pea bag.
Yeah. Taking the pea bag.
Three fiery mows is kind of awful.
Yeah, it's less about how much fire they drop and more about the lag that you have to wait through. Wow, and RoseCitySaint discovering New Kasuto and is able to get through to the magic item with only 5 containers.
And it has the flute.
So that River Devil is not going to be an issue if it turns out we need to head that direction.
And Trails takes down Horsehead. Usual clean Trails fashion.
Yeah, Zeke, you were mentioning the combat. The double hits on the way up isn't something I've really seen yet, so or noticed anyway. It's always nice to see the technique in display.
Also convenient for RCS, he was able to get the item. He's in New Kasuto to get the spell from here, and he has spell to get the spell tower.
The life spell in New Kasuto. A nice quality of life magic. Still not Reflect or Thunder. But let's see what else New Kasuto has for us.
I'm trying to decide if that pun was intentional.
I'm sorry, I missed it. What did I say?
It's a quality of life spell.
Oh, a little bit. Really, it improves these abstract, kind of undefinable elements of your life. It doesn't actually restore any tangible thing. How much life is in your life?
For RCS, the answer is 7 bars.
So it is measurable. Fine.
So, nothing too major in New Kasuto except for that flute.
Potentially major, especially if we see a 3-eye rock. But that's yet to be seen. There's another pass-through cave. Both runners showing up in more or less the same part of the map right now.
On my end, they're running in sync right now.
Yeah. That's what I see as well, so it's likely they really are that close.
And we have the town of Saria.
Well, Naburu.
Or no, Noboru. I
Regardless.
mix up my 7 sages very easily.
Yeah. It is a free spell. And we've only got a few duds remaining in the list, so...
I'm expecting jump.
More than likely. Fire would be interesting. But no, it is reflect.
And
so
there's...
all palaces...
There is Old Kazuto. With a vanilla thunder spell.
So... It's likely that we're going to see both runners coming upon these spells and knowing that it's time to go, and that we can dive any palace we see. RSC now picking up his thunder, while traiLZ picks up reflect.
Who knew that the two free spells on this side of... Two of the free spells would be, you know, the important ones over here. And to be honest, every single spell was free for our required.
And you like to see that if you're a runner. Can be interesting for the audience, but little more straightforward of a race that way, which is kind of good because it showcases the skill and technique more than it does the strategy and decision making. But, you know, pros and cons to both.
With these two, I think I would rather see the skill and technique, I will be honest.
So RSC, with everything in hand, probably going to be searching out his first palace to dive into next.
So we're missing 2, 5, and the other 3 and 6, if I remember correctly.
That does sound correct. We're going to start in Valley of Death.
traiLZ hammering every forest for a minute while he looks for a potential new Kasuto. He has not gone up to that side of the beach yet, so... Palace 2 is in the Valley of Death.
And traiLZ now entering New Kasuto. Gonna pick up his flute. Gonna pick up his life spell. And, was it a heart container that was in the tower on the edge of town?
It was a heart container in Spell Tower.
Oh my goodness, that's a very quick helmet head. And with low attack, jumps over him, gets to the other side so that he can hammer away at him across the screen. And Palace 2 is done.
The only thought I could have for what traiLZ is looking for is... He doesn't... I don't think we know where the boots are right now.
That could potentially save some time getting around the continents here. But as much time as it saves at this point may be lost to looking for them. Unless they're required.
That's the only reason I can think of why he might have been looking for them while he was in New Kazuto in case they were right there with his spell. And RCS is in Palace 1. We know that Horsehead is very quickly inside this dungeon.
So, no trouble for RoseCitySaint to get through here. And Horsehead was not terribly high XP, so I think we're just going to either take the levels as they come, or cancel out knowing that we're going to be exploring some more palaces here on the Eastern Continent. It is go time for RCS.
This seed had the makings of a jet seed for certain, didn't it?
It sure did. traiLZ just took a pass-through cave and ended up on the north side of... I can't remember if he... Did he head west, or is he still on the Eastern Continent? I think he's still
this is the Eastern Continent still.
And Horsehead done for RoseCitySaint. Palace 1 complete, and 2 gems are going to be placed in the 27th minute.
I imagine we'll be seeing a Palace 4 dive very shortly from RoseCitySaint.
And traiLZ just finding out that he is blocked by the boots, at least from that entrance to the north. It's possible the River Devil might provide access to an area. Well, let's see. We have GP accounted for. We had Valley of Death in 2. And, what was the other... outside of Maze Island, which we haven't seen.
We have not seen a palace that is potentially inside of Three Eye Rock.
I see. So that could be something here in the north that traiLZ is trying to find, but looks like he's going back through that pass-through cave.
And we have a Karok.
Palaces are super fast today.
This boss is still really easy.
The only time he's not easy is if you don't have enough health to sit in that corner and take 1 or 2 hits. But no problem. I'm gonna call it now. We finish both... Well, I wanted to say both runners, but I'm gonna say the winner finishes under an hour.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think that's actually a really safe bet, and the better question would be, do we break 50 minutes with this seed? The only thing we haven't found we absolutely need to is Maze Island, and that shouldn't be too much of a challenge unless we need those boots.
We haven't found the other palace either. Have we?
Well, let's see. There's... What's the one that he's next to right now?
That's 4.
Okay.
We've done 1, we've done 2, we've done 4. 2 is in the Valley of Death. We found GP right next to the Eastern Dock.
Okay, so this is the Western Continent 3 or 6. And to me, this looks like it's 3.
I don't know enough of the rooms in Z2 to be able to tell.
Well, I was
I'm gonna
wrong.
say
It's
this is 6.
It's 6.
I love that strategy.
I use it every time. Like, unless it's a very high attack level. It's much more often quicker than me trying to do what potentially could be faster if you know, there was skill. But I think both of these runners have the skill to approach it however they want.
And now RoseCitySaint takes an intentional lava bath to get some more magic.
And traiLZ taking care of Palace 4. And backtracking. I think he really wants boots.
And here's another Rebenek.
So RSC's gonna grab the item here then. Potentially. It's possible he takes the level and decides that's enough and I'll start over. But looks like he is gonna grab the item.
That's unfortunate for if traiLZ is looking for those.
It sure is. RCS didn't even have to go out of his way at all, and everything just landed for him. I think what RCS is doing is taking the strategy of let's take out the palaces in the west and spend the rest of our time in the game in the east.
I'm pretty sure that and there's our item in 4, a magic container. I'm pretty sure RCS is not going to be looking for anything else.
No, there's absolutely no reason to at this point. Just get through the palaces, go right, find bosses, and got done. traiLZ in the right place now for the boots.
I love the following screen, and we get to see it a lot in this dungeon.
It's the closest thing I can think of to like an anime-styled animation in NES games. 8-bit as it may be.
Both runners say hello to each other as they go through the same room there.
That's nice. It's always nice. And, ooh, well-executed jump over the Canadian hole without the jump spell. And we'll see if traiLZ elects to do the same.
There's Barba to the right of the Canadian hole.
And traiLZ does go into the Canadian hole.
traiLZ's turn for an intentional lava bath.
And the good news for him is that there are boots waiting. The question is, do we need them?
I mean, with a Maze Island, I'm pretty sure neither of them are going to complain about having found them.
Certainly not. Can save you a ton of time in there, especially because you know you won't be picking up any items.
Because what else do these runners really need?
Just a win.
The attack for Barba does feel a little bit bad, especially when you only get 300 experience for him.
Alright, Barba's down. Level 3 and 5 remaining. 5 the one that could potentially lengthen the seed, depending on the location of Guma, but we don't have to search for an item in the palace, and that's going to save a lot of headaches for both runners.
I'd almost say that 3 has a better chance of lengthening things where they don't find the item, because with 5 we won't be looking to the left at all unless we need to progress. So,
and that does happen a fair amount in Fry. Just the sheer amount of rooms that you can run into, but I do see your point. You could go down a very long corridor that leads to an item room and find that it's more or less equidistant from the start if you wanted to up A and start again. I guess we'll see.
RCS is now on the area that traiLZ went through at pass-through to.
But punched his ticket a little easier with the boots. Oh,
there's
look
a
at this.
3-eye rock.
Well, good thing the recorder, flute, I don't know what it's, you know, it looks more like a shawm than anything else, like a Renaissance oboe. Good thing it was easy to find.
You say recorder, and my brain goes, are we playing Z1 now?
I think that's where it's coming from. They're all kind of the same basic items in my book.
As someone who plays all 3 randos, I mix up every term.
Yeah. Glad to hear it.
I also mix up terms between the same game, as evidenced by my naming of towns.
Yeah, I think we have seen traiLZ fall significantly behind in his boots quest. Oh, and missed the jump over the Canadian hole. Is gonna have to backtrack and do it again. That hurts. It's Palace 3 that RCS is taking care of. Goes right and finds the item room without having to walk through a long corridor, which is nice.
I'm pretty sure this kind of room is one of my least favorite in Zelda 2.
The lava room.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're tough. sometimes there's not much you can do. But no problem in that one for RCS. Another opportunity to head right.
Well, the good news for Trails here is we get another attempt at the Canadian hole. And here's a Rebenak.
Easily dispatched. And that leaves only Palace 5, which will be on Maze Island. And then RCS will head for Great Palace.
RCS is on a pace of placing a gem every 8 minutes, on average.
And when you're in go mode, that's about right. Every 8 minutes, on average.
And RCS has already found Maze Island as well. And I did not see... Did you... And it's right there.
It's right there. Yeah, these palaces are going really fast. And some of that is just boss location, some of it is very good planning on RCS's part.
Am I wrong with that name for this one for today?
What name? Maze Island? Oh. Yeah. Not much of a maze. Big distraction.
And Trails cannot walk down the ocean to get to the Valley of Death. I assume I just missed Trails killing Barb on my left side screen there.
Oh yeah, I suppose that's probably true. Oh really? Okay, so looks like we both missed another failed Canadian hole jump, followed by an up and A and a retreat. Tough setback, but yeah, did extract the boots from Palace 6 and was able to find Palace 3 and shortly after Maze Island.
And Streamlabs happens occasionally.
And Eat My Steel. Welcome to exclusive membership of Zelda Speedruns 3.
That was not Zelda Speedruns. That was Trails' stream.
That was Trails' stream. Way to get lucky. Thanks.
You remember what you said about the boss in 5 being very far into it?
Could
it's
be, huh?
That way right now.
That's too bad. Well, if that's to someone's advantage, it would be Trails, but there it is. I'm sorry, that's still not a long 5.
That's also not a very durable Guma.
Well, RCS is really going for it here. And used a shield spell cast, I believe, to get an edge. And that is all 6 gems. time for a dip into Great Palace, and an almost guaranteed sub 1 hour seed for RCS.
It would have to be a pretty trolly Palace 6 or GP.
Yeah. I think even if he had to explore every room, he could still finish in 15 minutes.
And traiLZ finds a Rebenak. RCS takes a moment to check the water tile for the cross and leaves it sitting where it is.
Yeah, I'm not going to need that anymore. I believe the MOAs that show up in GP are the ones that the cross reveals, but you don't see them too often.
These rooms always make me want some nice, tasty waffle fries.
Oh, that's so good. So does waffles.
That bird night definitely had less health than it usually does, I think.
Was it one of the orange ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, those ones have pretty low health generally. It's the red ones and the blue ones that even at higher attack levels you usually have to put a few hits into. Gets squished, and there's a nice early fire. Thunderbird means just about nothing for location of Dark Link, though.
The jump scare when the big bot falls out of the ceiling is always an enjoyable one, too.
Yeah.
And traiLZ is in... This is 5. We just saw this palace.
Nice easy pendulum for RCS. Very clean, very easy Thunderbird fight for him.
If Dark Link is still beyond this room, okay, good.
That's the Jackamus room. There's another bot, another giant bot, and he gets squished, but not quite enough to take the death. Nor from that hit in the fairy room here. I wonder if we'll see him take the fairy, or just take a dip. No, we're just gonna continue. Oh, nice. I really want to see the sub 50. That would be incredible.
I wouldn't mind, but a sub hour is still impressive.
It's very impressive. But that was the L7 room, and there's nothing you can do there except for just turn around and try to find another way.
This might be my least favorite room in Grand Palace.
Oh, and that's why.
RCS giving us an excellent demonstration of why that is the case.
So many things flying through the air. It's rarely the hard-hitting attackers that destroy you when you're a top-tier runner. It's those little things that happen to position you right into the lava.
there is a dead end. Along with one crunchy chicken.
So traiLZ appears to be going back to grab a spell here. I think he's looking for jump to get through Palace 6.
I never even saw him pick up the medicine.
It's the fire spell, which could be linked to jump. And it's not.
I'm gonna say it's linked to shield.
That would be a reasonable guess. I think his sprite is just brown.
Now I'm trying to figure out which spell it's linked to. It's not jump.
It's not jump. I think he had full life at the time, so could be life, could be reflect, could be thunder. And without upstab, and without jump, RCS has to get creative here to get through this room, and is down to his last life. He's gonna ferry it.
traiLZ takes the cross. Maybe this right passage has this Darklink, and there's Darklink.
Well, this will easily be the fastest time of the tournament. In potentially a sub 53 seed.
Assuming our good friend Darklink cooperates.
And just barely, 52:58 looked like the time. Oh, looks like our counter is just very off from the actual race room. 52:39 is RoseCitySaint's final time. What a performance.
Get your GGs in chat for RoseCitySaint.
You're really not going to see a better run seed than that. There were few branching decisions given by the items, but the decision to not look for the boots actively and just start plunging dungeons ultimately was the deciding factor in this match. traiLZ, meanwhile, finishing up Palace 2. Gonna have to take that dive into 6 again.
It looks like we're trying to get RoseCitySaint in for an interview.
Well, I sure hope we can. And there he is.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, RoseCitySaint, great run on a nice seed.
Yes, that was particularly ill, wasn't it?
It was beautiful.
I'm going to be honest, that was a PB.
Yeah, I believe it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I've never had a time like that. I think fastest time I ever had before this one on a 6 gem tournament seed, like legitimate, no funny business, was maybe 56 minutes. So this was a PB by a wide margin.
Well, there
And
was one. Go ahead,
real,
Zeke.
real quick, just welcome to the Raiders from Zelda Speedruns 2.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, just in time to miss your your victory there and have you join us here. So there was one decision that you made or omitted making that made the difference in this race. And that was going into the palaces and deciding not to look for boots. Was that something you had considered doing? And where were difficult decisions in the seed, if any, for you?
That's it. I actually did get the boots, about halfway through my progress, but I certainly wasn't searching for them. By the time I finished combing the Eastern continent the first time through, I was in go mode, and I just kind of hoped. I'm like, well, I have the flute. I know I can go north of the River Devil now, and probably not going to need anything else. And so I just considered myself in go mode. I did 1, 3, and 6, and in 6 I happened to miss the.
The Canada
am I
jump?
with you? I'm sorry. Yeah, I missed the Canadian hole jump, and that kind of led me into the boots, which I happily took. And then fortunately, I made the Canadian hole jump the second time through, and the rest was easy peasy.
Well, I think traiLZ just missed his 4th Canadian hole jump there, and that was another big factor. He did a particularly long hunt for the boots before plunging into some of these palaces.
Why would he want the boots so bad? What do you have an idea for what he might have wanted with them?
Well, there was one point when he took a pass-through cave to the north and saw that river that sort of blocked access to the lower part of the north.
Oh,
I think
okay.
he may have assumed that he needed to get through there and didn't realize that the River Devil was still there as an option.
And I without taking a good close second look at it, you may have needed those boots, but I kind of don't think so. I think the River Devil would have brought you to the same
Oh.
area. But by the time I came back the second time, I had the boots, and the boots were just quicker.
It was so serendipitous to have that missed jump then.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I'll say it was pretty lucky, and I'm lucky that I got it on the second try. I'm not super amazing good at making the Canadian hole jump without the jump spell, but
Ooh.
with those tiles, it was pretty easy.
Yeah. Well, that's number 5 for traiLZ. He actually went back to what was the town? Was it Mito that he went back to looking for jump spell?
Looking for jump.
Oh yeah, I don't blame him. I've done that before in races, and sometimes it saves you, and sometimes it costs you. It's just it's really crappy when that Canadian hole jump is required and jump isn't handed to you freely.
Well, if it was jump that was in that town, I'm sure it would have paid off at this point because he'll be going there first.
traiLZ makes the Canadian hole jump.
He does. You must be watching directly on his stream or something because I haven't seen it yet. Let's see. There it is.
You may just need to refresh the commentary page.
Maybe I do. I'll go ahead and do that. Cool. So yeah, he's going to take care of Barba and head to Great Palace, and Great Palace seems fairly straightforward. Yeah, I mean, not a ton to worry about.
It was lengthy though.
It was lengthy. Yeah, I suppose so. There was some time spent there. I didn't see you run into too many overt dead ends, but then again, I probably wasn't paying as close attention as you were at the time.
I hit a couple, but they were only like one room in, so the backtracking was not too terrible. There was one area though, like if you were to have gone like up and left from the fairy room, which I chose not to do, I don't know what that could have led you into. That could have been a really bad in fact, it probably was. I imagine a couple of the drops were up there because I didn't see very many of the drops. So
yeah, do you have any insight onto how you made that decision, or was it just kind of a I'm gonna go with the gut here?
No, I wanted to go back, and because I didn't know what was down from the Jackamus room, I wanted to see if that was a right,
Mhm.
and it was, but that was a dead end. And so since I happened to be in that area below the Jackamus room, I just decided to take that left instead. Much closer.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. The closer diverging path over
Yeah,
the more
exactly.
distant
This
one.
I didn't make any kind of gut instinct calls in GP. I made a minor one in 5 toward the end of 5 where there was an elevator or a room to the right, which was going to be one of those rooms that can redirect you with an elevator up and might change your direction. And
Mhm.
rather than do that, I just like backtracked a little bit, went up an elevator, and that brought me into Guma. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, that
Yeah,
strategy paid off there.
5 was one of the ones we were wondering if was gonna, uh, be something that could lengthen the seed a little bit, between the 2 of you, but did seem to complete it pretty quickly, and I believe traiLZ did as well. So he's in GP now, and in spite of the Boots quest and some of the mishaps on the Canadian Hole Room, is still gonna finish with a solid time, um, in the low 1-hour range. So, excellent competitors, the both of you, excellent skills demonstrated. So you go to 4-0,
Yes,
and,
indeed.
at this point, that's seeding, right? Seeding and bragging rights and knowing that you
Yeah.
just got yourself a PB.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, once you've made the brackets, that's basically all you can really do for yourself. But I do believe there is sort of a seeding to it where if you are capable of getting that fourth or fifth win, you might be able to give yourself a slightly easier path. So, and not to mention the bragging rights are where it's at. I don't know if any two guys have played against each other more than traiLZ and I have played against each other. And yeah, we're rivals from way back. It's a little bit personal. It's friendly but personal.
I can appreciate that. That's definitely in the spirit of friendly competition, even if it does
Yes,
get a
for sure.
little testy sometimes. I loved the promo that was posted earlier, um, of
Oh,
the
by
Jockey
Joshy
D
D,
thing.
yeah. Oh yeah, that promo that he re-released now just earlier today. That actually came in 3 different parts. He released that like at 3 different points during the week, in the build to my match with him, and it was like crazy. Every day you'd wake up and look forward to a new promo, and they were really brilliant. I mean, the entertainment value through the roof. You have to appreciate that.
I absolutely do, and, as a musician, I was thinking about the soundtrack a lot, and, it sounded like something that somebody could have done themselves if they sort of knew what they were doing, not like professional studio type stuff, but, like, still, like, really nice. And just everything, the visuals and, the transitions and all that, just
Yeah,
brilliant.
the
Sorry.
score was phenomenal. Will bring a tear to your eye.
Yeah, yeah, loved it, loved it. So, yeah, I like thinking of it that way, and then the 2 of you also, at least Trails is definitely always vocal about, wanting the competition, you know?
Oh
So, I
yeah.
think good job of hyping up the match. It's a shame that he didn't have some of those things go his way a little more, because you guys are fantastic competitors, and on any given day, either one of you can have the advantage.
Well, let's see what's up from that room, that fairy room.
Oh, look at that. Well, it wasn't a loop, so it wouldn't have taken too much time to realize that it was time to turn around.
I'll be curious to hear traiLZ after talk about why he felt he needed those boots so bad. If he forgot about the River Devil, or if he had a feeling that led to nowhere.
Yeah, it's interesting. You gotta think with somebody like him that it probably couldn't, like, a decision that big probably couldn't have just been a whim. I mean, that's my gut. I
Yeah,
suspect he probably thought that it was the only way.
yeah. Sometimes too, when you're facing someone who you know is really tough competition, sometimes you do make just kind of crazy gambles that you might not otherwise. But I have a feeling that's not what he was doing.
Yeah, take the risk and get the edge.
Yeah, if
Mm.
that's sort of what I recommend to someone if you know you're overmatched,
Mhm.
is to play risky early.
Yeah, he's been, I mean, this is kinda his way, but he's been playing so much lately, and I think he's really tuned in how he approaches these things. Yeah, I think you're right. It'll be really interesting to hear from him what was going on there.
I know in my experience, sometimes you do just legitimately forget about things. Like he might have tried the pass through caves and forgotten that the River Devil path was an option. It just
Mhm.
happens once in a while. And in
Especially
fact,
being one of the first
y-
things on the map that you see.
yes, and the more often you play, the more likely you are to forget little details like that. So it's his style. Like he ran several races earlier in the day, and I'm not saying that's what happened, but I know for me, it would definitely contribute to seed confusion, and
Yeah,
that's why I try not to do any other racing of Z2R earlier in the day. You know, leading into a tournament match.
yeah. Do you do any warming up or practice of any kind beforehand?
Not really. Just my big secret is to just make sure I'm well rested, and my
Yeah,
mind is clear.
you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah,
Sleep is good.
yeah.
I
Vitamins,
don't know, I
sleep. You know,
feel like I have heard sleep is good somewhere before, I'm not sure.
all things come in balance. Mr. Miyagi taught me that.
Sounds good. Really intent on retaining magic while fighting this, oh, that's why, because on the last life. Oof. And we did have the early Thunderbird, though, so the only reason to retain magic at this point is survival.
And he gets it.
Was that a Thunderfire he just used?
Yes.
Wow, never knew about that.
Fire was the spell in Mito.
Aha.
And I don't know if we saw it before this, because, when it was tested, it was inside the room where you get the magic, and we didn't get a good look at it. We're about to finish up here, and looks like we will be under 110. Good time as Zelda randomizer seeds go, but for this one, I'm sure that Trails is wishing he had a slightly better one.
And get your GGs in chat for Trails.
RCS, thanks for
Yes.
the interview. Uh,
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
and let's see if we can get Trails on and have the two of you talk some of those events out if you're up for it.
Yeah. I'll stick around. I'll let him do the talking.
Wow. So fantastic seed, and really exciting to watch when everything lines up and you see those palaces get cleared out super fast like that.
And it looks like Trails will be joining us for an interview.
Excellent.
And welcome, traiLZ.
Hey, what's up, Zeke?
GG.
Thank you.
Well, traiLZ, we're here with RCS as well. Really nice seed.
Yeah, that's a really incredible time RCS to get on a seed. GG on that.
Thank you. It was a PB for sure by a couple of minutes.
That's incredible. I was pretty schmoovin', but I got caught up in that jump in P6. I missed it like 2 or 3 times, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go and try to find, because I got the hint for medicine, and like that jump, dude, like I can hit it some of the time. Like the one time I thought I hit it and I was at the wrong column and I walked right into Canada. So I don't know, it was just bad gameplay on my part, and that drop was connected back through that elevator room. It just took a million fairy casts. Did you get the boots, or did you blow the whistle to go up north?
Yeah, I actually got the boots. I missed the Canadian hole jump my first time, and it kind of led me right into the boots. And then after a little bit of more exploring, I up and A'd. I tried the Canadian hole again, and I got it on my second try. And so it worked out good because those boots were helpful to get to, the Maze Island area. I think that was a little faster than using the flute.
Yeah, it might have been. I don't know. I saw the River Devil as I was passing through to go do P2 at the end. I missed Valley of Death. I might have did that before I up and A'd back to the west. That's another thing. My routing was a little poor. But whatchamacallit, what was I gonna say? What time did you enter GP?
Oh, like 45 minutes.
I was thinking, like, Jesus, man.
Yeah, because I did not have an especially good GP. I took a couple of the same wrong turns you did. I did not go up and left from the ferry room. I originally explored down from the ferry room, and then when that was a dead end, I went back into the Jackamus and down from there. And so that I saved a few rooms there, but yeah, it was the same bull you, the same bull you saw.
Yeah, I even went left down there at the bottom, and I hit that one-up room.
Oh, that I don't think I saw.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff going right in the early game, and then what seemed to be the clearest divergence between the two runs was what we assumed was looking for the boots. There was a time, traiLZ, when you were going into New Kasuto and a few other places where it looked like you were doing a bit of an item hunt. Was that when you were looking for the medicine?
I was looking for the boots. I had a hint for the medicine, but okay. Even if I made that jump first try, I still don't think I would have beaten 52 minutes. That's just a really good time. I think maybe if I would have gone into Valley of Death, I think I was too low, and I might have missed Valley of Death because it was down there in that bottom left-hand corner with this towns down there. And I did take a few caves to see if I could mitigate that boot block, and I couldn't. And so I mean, I saw all of the caves, and I missed Valley of Death, which I mean I guess could be considered a blessing in one hand because well, you said you were in Boston Go mode anyway, and you just lucked into the boots. See,
exactly. I was not looking for them.
I already knew that we were boot locked after going through all the caves, and so I was on an item hunt. I never found either of the P-bag caves, so I don't know if you found either. But I saw finally found Maze Island, went and did that or whatever. It was whatever. It was a good seed. It was a good quick seed. However, I don't think I would have. I still don't think I would have beat 52 minutes had I made that jump first try.
Yeah. My routing was really, really good. I got everything I needed the first trip through without having to nose around too much. I did the Valley of Death P2 there, and then I would just up an A, go do the 3 Western Palaces, and then move right along. And I even ran into some good luck in 6, like I said, stumbling into the boots without wasting that much time. What would have made this seed much more interesting was if the Spectacle Rock that had the glove, if that had been hidden deeper in Death Mountain and you had to go through a few caves to get there, that would have completely changed everything. Because I certainly wasn't intent on just completely full clearing Death Mountain or anything. The Spectacle Rock just happened to be sitting right there for you.
Well, that wouldn't have been in the character of the seed at all, would it?
No, that's for another seed. But these Swiss flags are absolutely all or nothing. We're seeing some of the fastest times we've ever seen out of anybody using these flags. It's been pretty special.
We just saw a 52 out of you.
Yeah.
And from my experience watching and playing this randomizer, that's kind of unheard of.
A little bit. I mean, we're pretty good at it. We do this a lot. I know traiLZ had a 56 the other day in a tournament race, which is, incredibly ill.
I remember a commentator in one of the first round races, I believe, seeing one of those faster times say that they've seen under an hour once before. And then we saw traiLZ get the 56, and now we've got this 52, and there have been some other casual races where those kind of numbers have come up.
Similar type of thing happened in that seed as well. First of all, the overworld layout was much more. Well, I guess I did have a boot lock. You got a hint early on that said P1 had the glove. So my first instinct is go find P1, get the glove, and do the rest of the stuff. I was missing a palace on the west, and I sailed east, and I had it narrowed down to I think a 33, like a 1/3 chance. So I went on Valley of Death, and it turned out to be P3. It was either P3 or P. It was P3. That's what it was, and I ended up not being glove blocked in P3, so I got really lucky there because I didn't want to have to come back to Valley of Death. So I found the boss right away, up aid. Then I went to P2, which is right by start, and it forced you into the boots. I went all the way down and then right. I was in boss and go at that point as well, but when I went down and right, I hit a dead end, and then my first left was the item room into the boots. So that I got really lucky on that regard because P1 was on a straight up island, completely boot locked, and you could not really tell. I mean, it seemed that you could reach all of the points of the continent, but I could never see that little area, the patch that had P1 on it. So, I mean, I lucked into the boots there, but the overworld was a little bit more spread out, and it was a little bit less. I don't know. It's really difficult to say. This seed was pretty straightforward. I mean, I want to say that the overworld was pretty friendly, with having 1 and 3 or 1 and 4 right there by start and all that. But the one on the that I did on my last tournament race there was a little bit more crap with it.
Yeah, what was interesting about this seed to me? I don't think I took a single pass-through cave at any point.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I took all of the pass-through caves.
Yeah, and, that's the definition of friendly, when you don't need any pass-through caves.
Yeah, exactly. But whatchamacallit, and stumbling onto the boots and when there's 3 palaces or 4 palaces that are not boot or that are totally boot locked. 3 palaces. I'm sorry, 3 palaces that are completely. I'm sorry, 2 palaces. The Maze Island and the Flute Lock were up top, and you completely needed the boots to get up there. Stumbling onto the boots is that's the best thing that could have you hit the lottery.
Yes. Oh yeah,
think-
yeah. You don't go sub-hour unless you hit the lottery at some point in a seed like that.
Really lucky, and I ended up doing P6 on the last one, and it was completely not glove blocked either. So it ended up working out. This one, not so much.
Well, it must be a pretty good seed if 108 is the time with taking all the pass-through caves and backtracking to get spells and all that. But as usual, good performance in the execution of the combat and generally in the decision making. It's just really nice to see top tier players doing their thing. So thanks to both of you for this tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Trails,
It was a lot of fun.
yeah. Trails goes to 3-1, RoseCitySaint 4-0, and both of them on to the bracket round. And at this point, just refining the skills, getting the practice in, and bragging rights for RoseCitySaint tonight.
And before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I just want to say GG to Rose and thank you guys for doing everything. And you guys have a great night.
Thank you, Trails.
Yes. Same,
Thank you,
GG.
RoseCitySaint.
Always a pleasure. And thank you for the commentary and the restream. A lot of fun. Peace out.
And lastly, shout outs to Chromaticalism, my co-commentator, and to Miri, who ran the restream today, and to ZeldaSpeedRuns for hosting these races.
Shout out to Zeke.
Thank you, Chroma. I'm Zekai Wind. That's Chromaticalism. And we hope you have a good evening.